You lying, Satara.
Hey, good evening. Sorry for the tardiness. We color people, we do things on our own time. I'm going to do better, I promise. Hey, so tonight we have Pastor Derek Aldridge from Second Chance Church. My friend. I love him so much, y'all. Y'all don't even know. It's my friend and my pastor.
Look like Satara froze up. Oh, she got to come back in, Pastor.
Okay.
She froze up for a second. Yeah. Oh, there you go, right there.
All right. All right. We okay?
Yeah, you back live. You went out for a second.
Did it? Oh, I'm not really sure. Okay, but we're back. All right. So I have my friend of Becky said she got to be on her best behavior because she got Pastor in here. Yes, Becky, you do have to be on your best behavior. So again, this is my friend, my very, very dear friend, Pastor Derek Aldridge of Second Chance Church, my friend and my pastor. I am so thankful to have you on with us tonight, Pastor. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. God bless you tonight. We are better than friends. And Becky,
That's right.
just be yourself tonight. I want everybody to be themselves. All right.
That's right. We are better than friends. We are family. We've been that way for a long, 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 long time.
I believe in trying to keep it real.
That's
So
right.
what's happening, Satara? What's going on?
It's so much happening around the city and around the world and all of these things. And I just wanted to get some perspective from you from the church. A lot of people they have these they scrutinize a lot of things, they scrutinize a lot of people, and the questions are always asked, where the church? Where are the churches? Because the churches were so prevalent back in the days, and all of us coming up, they were, you know, very heavy in the civil rights and being activists and just things not only just in their cities but around the world. They got together all the time and were doing things, and so people are asking still, like what happened? And so I had some questions too, and just thinking about those things. And I said, it's easy for us to say, where the church, what are they doing? And nobody's asking the questions because I haven't seen anybody, like any of the politicians or anybody to go to any of the churches and say, hey, what happened? What do you think happened? So those are some questions that I have tonight, that I wanted to know and just get it from a perspective. And who better to ask than, my pastor?
Okay. Um, years ago, I'm from the '50s. Okay. Born in '54, and I know that my dad came to Michigan to General Motors. Him and my mom's, and in the '60s they joined Antioch. Pastor was a guy named um, um, I don't. He was a pastor before Reverend Randolph, but anyway, the church was very strong then because everybody was moving from the south and moving up north. Everybody was getting ready for getting away from slavery and coming and following General Motors, and General Motors was coming here to Flint and to Detroit. And pastors in the South were the leaders at that point in time because people
Mm-hmm.
that were in slavery didn't know who to follow and who to trust. And so after they got here, they really became, pastors became the leaders in the community. My dad, Reverend Robs, Reverend Reuben Russell, Dr. Pointer, all of them became leaders over some of your major churches in the city. And the politicians, they formulated, let me, from my perspective, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they formulated the concerned pastors, and the
Mm-hmm.
concerned pastors became a group of non denominational pastors from all different walks of life, the Jewish community, everybody. And let me say this, one of the things that has happened in the church today now is that pastors form groups and they make decisions without letting everybody come to the table before decisions are made. And because of education, because of knowledge, because of pastors coming from different segments of life, one of the problems you have is that if you want to form a group, you need to bring everybody to the table and everybody be a part of making a decision of what that group is going to stand for and how that group is going to work. So we have gotten into a situation now where nobody's following anybody. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to be their own leader, and nobody wants to follow one another's. The concerned pastors, when they first got started, they trusted my dad as a leader of the group, but they got together and made decisions together. They interviewed politicians that were running for office. If somebody was running for the prosecutor, they would invite all of the prosecutors that were coming in, and they would all sit down and talk with them and ask them questions one at a time to find out who would be the best person that would do the things that would be right for the city of Flint. So now we've kind of lost that. Money, churches grabbing money, leaders grabbing money, pastors grabbing for money, grabbing for power, and we've kind of lost our edge. There were some meetings that took place, matter of fact, and the meetings between the politicians and the pastors. And I was sitting in a meeting where the politicians said that they did not need the pastors anymore to get in office. And that really became a real divide. And that was in a concerned pastors meeting. I hope you're still with me, Satara.
Yeah, she with you. Yeah, she just had to drop off. I was going to ask you, how did you feel about hearing that? Oh, there she go right there. How did you feel about that when you heard that?
I felt that the whole drama, the whole impact of what was getting ready to happen with politics was changing. Because anytime a politician says that they don't need the church and they don't need the pastors, is what they're saying is they don't need the vote of the church. And there was two things that I learned. I went to school in the South. I went to school in Selma, Alabama. Okay, went to school in Birmingham. I went to the all black colleges and everything. And one thing that we learned there is that you followed leadership. Whoever was in leadership at that time, you needed to follow them. Martin Luther King was successful because people followed him. And there's only two things that I learned that you have. You either have money or you have numbers. And we have kind of eliminated the money and the numbers in the community here in the city of Flint. We don't have numbers like we used to. When I was growing up here, we had 200,000 people. And we had all of these churches that were full on Sunday mornings, especially in the Baptist church. But now we only have, 100,000 people or less? And the majority of people don't go to anybody's church now, but it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust the church when pastors sell you out for water.
I can't even see
with the governor, when
Can you hear me?
groups of leaders do things by themselves and don't include all of the rest of the pastors, so everybody knows what's going on.
I can't see anything. I can't see anybody. I can't even see anything. You know what? I'm not sure, Mick.
Yeah, I can hear you though.
See me?
Yeah, and I see you and hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear Pastor? Can you hear?
I hear her and I see her.
No, we can see you and hear you, so you can ask them the questions. You hear me, Satara? No, we can see you and hear you, so you can ask them the questions. Oh, let me kick you. Let me kick you out of this one. Oh, now can you hear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well now you can ask the questions.
Okay. So my first question was, where do you think the ball got dropped at?
Leadership.
Okay.
Okay.
I was wondering that. Was leadership the issue? Because I feel like leadership is still the issue now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Leadership in the church, leadership with the politicians became a major issue. And there was a divide.
Okay.
With the church, the pastors following one another, who's going to be in charge, what group was going to be in charge, whether it was the Kojic church, whether it was the Baptist church, whether it was the Presbyterian church. And what happened is, what I saw as a youngster growing up under my dad is that when he was in leadership, he connected with the Presbyterian church. He connected with the Jewish leadership. And I'm not just trying to build my dad up right now. I'm talking about what I saw. But then as time moved on and new leaders stepped in, and he stepped away, Reverend A.C. Lee was another good leader. And they had the CPSA Courier, and you had Reverend Hopkins, and all of them were all involved in helping to write the paper and make sure the paper had substance in it. And it didn't just have opinions of people who were always on somebody's side. Okay. One of the biggest things that happened is that you had the pastors that jumped on politicians' sides for their own personal gain. Ooh. They're not going to like that. They're not going to like me tonight.
That's good. That's really interesting that you say that, because that's still happening. That is still happening so much today for their own personal gain. That's interesting that you said that. So with even knowing that, was the baton not passed, or was the baton not passed to the right people once, like like Reverend Randolph or Pastor Robs, or any of those people, or even Reverend Floyd for that matter, like those people, was the baton not passed or not passed to the right people, do you think?
I can't say that the baton was not passed to the right people, but the dynamics of the whole ministry of churches changed.
Okay.
As pastors died off, even now, if you look today, right now, if we look today at the churches today, you have very few pastors now still left in the city of Flint that came from Flint. And so if you're not from Flint, you don't know about Flint, and you really don't care about Flint.
Yeah.
Okay, you care about you because pastors now are looking to pastor as a career and not a ministry. And it's got to be about a ministry. It's got to be about the communities which you live in. We have to fight for our people that live in our community. I love Flint because I grew up in Flint. So when somebody dies in Flint, that's somebody that's a part of my heart that died. But if you don't come from Flint and you really don't know the church that you're going to pastor, and they brought you in from wherever they brought you in from, and you really don't know your congregation, you don't know their families, you don't know their history, well, you don't have the same feeling as those of us that live in Flint. So a lot of things happened because a lot of pastors wanted to come, and a lot of churches brought pastors in from outside to become a part of the Flint, the Genesee County community.
No, I agree with you with that there. No, I'm here, Pastor. I agree with you with that there. It's a lot of outsiders, but it's gonna be something gonna be mad about that right there.
Listen, I have nothing to lose.
Right.
Okay. I'm 67 now. I've paid my dues. I've made my mistakes, but
Right.
I'm willing to tell the truth to try to help the city of Flint change. And it's got to be a change. It's got to be a new vision for Flint. Flint cannot continue to go on like it's going on. In leadership, in politics, Flint cannot go on. There has to be a visionary
Mm-hmm.
in Flint, somebody that takes a look at Flint and is willing to tell the truth and stand for what will help Flint. I think I was having a conversation with Satara for a few minutes, and I said to Satara, the Flint needs a mayor and Flint needs a city council that's willing to say, hey, listen, when we had 200,000 people, when we had 150,000 people, we needed 9 city council people.
Yeah.
But now we only got 100,000 people. So we're paying city council people now anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 a year, and they only got 200 people in the second and the third ward. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, and I don't let people come back and take shots at me later on. I don't care. Um, you got 300 people or 200 people in a ward, and you're paying somebody $25,000 and plus benefits to run a ward with 200 people.
Yeah.
We need to cut down the size of the council. We need to cut down the size of the city. We have streets with 1 and 2 houses on it, and we're collecting garbage. We're paying light bills. We're paying sewer bills. We got all kind of things going on, but nobody wants to talk about that. I was looking at Akron, Ohio, and Dan Kildee was talking about Akron, Ohio. Akron, Ohio actually cut the size of their city down. Okay? They cut it down, made it concrete. They cut off lights. They cut off the plumbing. They cut off everything. And so the city is able to survive and is doing a better job surviving now because of the fact that it fits the size of the city.
Yeah.
Our city is just a jungle. It's just garbage everywhere except for downtown. And everybody only seems to care about downtown. Everybody that gets in office puts all of their money and all their interest in downtown because the folks downtown are the people with the money to help pay them to take care of them for the rest of their lives. See, we lost it a long time ago with politicians that wanted to get rich off the city of Flint rather than help the community. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
That's that's what we want. We want the truth. We want to hear that. And it's interesting that you keep bringing that up because I also think that was like the big mix. The politicians and the church, like all of that colliding just made a mess. So with that being said, were the pastors then, even senior pastor, grooming the up and coming? Because the reason why I'm wondering that is just because we do have so many other pastors from other states, other cities, and that were we not grooming who we had?
Let me say this. One of the things that the pastors from my dad's era did, and one of the mistakes that I see that they made now as a senior pastor, because I'm a senior pastor now, because I'm close to 70. One of the mistakes they did is they didn't take care of themselves. They didn't put retirements in place for themselves. You understand? Churches were about appreciations, but not about the pastor thinking about what's in the best interest for me, what's in the best interest for that church. So, for example, my dad, he really didn't have a retirement in place. My mother put a retirement in place for our family, but my dad didn't have Foss Avenue to put a retirement in place for him. So then as he got older, it was hard for him to say, okay, I'm stepping away and I'm retiring. Because what am I retiring to? And most of your senior pastors, at that time did the same thing. They didn't think about what it was going to take to meet their needs, but at the same time they didn't have the banks and they didn't have people in the congregation that were telling them, hey pastor, we need to get you a retirement so that when you turn 65 you can retire, and then the pastor could start looking at grooming somebody to put in place to replace them as the pastor,
Okay.
and making sure that the churches were doing things that were financially beneficial for not only the church, but for the community, because I believe that every church should tithe to the community. If we're going to preach tithing, we're going to preach 10%. If
Yeah.
I get up on Sunday morning and tell you you need to give 10%, then the church needs to give 10% to the community in which it lives in to help the community out.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what we try to do at Second Chance, is give back to the community by handing out food to those in need, for doing things. You know, I know my dad, he was an entrepreneur, and a lot of other pastors are entrepreneurs, and that's great. But everybody has to find their own niche. Everybody can't do the same thing. You know, all of us can't sell barbecue rib. One of the things that I see is a barbecue rib joint on every street now. All of
Yeah.
us can't sell barbecue ribs and all make no money.
Yes.
We all have to have a different niche, and we got to hang in what God us to do and he allows us to do.
Yeah.
And we just can't get sucked in by politicians that don't have the best interests of the city of Flint in their hearts.
Absolutely. So I have another question with that being said, so being that they were so heavily into the civil rights and, the social injustices and all of the issues that were going on, were those things being passed down then? Did senior pastor talk to you about those things, or, even get you in position to continue to have those fights?
That was their fight then too,
Mm-hmm.
was civil rights.
Yeah.
More so than anything,
Yeah.
okay? Voting rights, civil rights, and those type of things. And so you had people like Jesse Jackson that came along, okay? And I was able to attend events with my dad at the National Baptist Convention, at the state convention, and where these conventions and all of these things were, um, they had the opportunity to really pass the baton down to the young pastors.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do it
Ah.
because the senior pastors, a lot, even on the National Baptist Convention, I worked with one of the presidents of the National Baptist Convention, and they had what was called the Young Pastors Ministry, which was growing and it was dynamic on a national level. And he cut it out because he believed that young Davids wasn't their time. It was still time for the old pastors or the older pastors to continue to teach the young Davids. And David didn't need it. When God appointed David, he went over all of his older brothers and they anointed him king.
Mm.
They placed the mantle on him. And I just think that a lot of times we as older pastors, even myself, we sometimes don't want to hear what the young pastors have to say and the vision that the young pastors have and the vision that the young people in the community have.
Mm. Mm.
We don't want to listen because we always think that we know what is right. And we don't know what's right all the time. So sometimes we need to sit back and listen so we can learn. And then we need to embrace our younger people in the community because you guys are the ones that need to take care of me. And here now, you need to start taking care of me. And I'm willing to sit back and hear what you got to say.
That's really good, and I think that's really good teaching, and I think even more that is coming from you in being of your generation, right? Because it's easy for us to say, hey, y'all gotta listen, y'all, we need y'all to listen, but I think hearing you say it and knowing that you agree that, even though our ideas aren't your ideas maybe, and not the way that you would do them, things evolve and things change. Because I think because like even looking back at it, like, you know, from senior pastor when they were fighting, and you know he was marching with Dr. King and that, and then things start progressing and start seeing change and things getting a little better, right? And
Right.
then it kind of seemed like things got lax, but it wasn't lax. It was that they got older, and then they started passing away, you know, and then nobody picked up where they left off, kind of, right? And
Right.
then, so then things seemed to start reverting back, but they didn't revert back. It's just that it was really stagnated, right? It was just that little bit of change, and then it was stagnant. And then, to me, just me on the outside looking in, it seems like they said, "Oh, well, we don't have the Negroes fighting like they did before. Let's push it on back some more."
Right.
So now I'm seeing it, and it's reverting back. So now I think about, like, I go back and think about some of the things that senior pastor taught us, because I, even though I was young, I still can remember some of those things, which is a great thing. And knowing that you all used to say all the time, you'll remember those things when it becomes relevant, when you need to remember it. And I do. And
Right.
so that's one of the things that makes me able to think back to all of those steps, you know. And so I don't know. I think it's hard for me, maybe because my heart is in a different place, and maybe it's because of whom I came under, senior pastor and you and my own grandparents. You know, like maybe it's because of that. However, I don't understand why we aren't fighting like they fought, because we saw it, and history has proven that it works. And I don't understand why we don't. But then what made me think about it, that maybe it's not working, is just like what you said. Politics got involved. Personal gain got involved. So it was big eyes, little U's, and not the other way around, right?
Yeah, because if I'm not going to listen, because if I'm not going to fight for the cause, and you can buy me out,
Mm, mm,
then you've got me.
yeah.
And I might have a powerful voice, and I might have some powerful things to say, and I might bring some powerful things to the table. But if I let my needs for money or my want for power be in the wrong place and at the wrong time, because like you said, the mantle wasn't passed. Like there are, let me give you an example.
Okay.
The National Baptist Convention
Mm-hmm.
had 40,000 people at one time going into different cities,
Yeah.
okay, and having congresses and conventions for a week. But the problem that I had with the National Baptist Convention, and I told my dad this, I said, we go into a city, we spend money, we buy up all the liquor, we stay in the hotels, we meet in the convention center, but we don't do anything to go out and get any souls saved that are living in the cities, and nor do we leave a legacy. Because if 40,000 people go in the city, they could at least build one person that doesn't have a home, a house, and say that's from what the National Baptist Convention does. And so the
Mm,
same thing happens here in the city of Flint. We have conventions, we have congresses, we have all kind of things that meet, and they raise money on a regular basis. They're going to have the simultaneous revival coming up during April, where a bunch of people are going to come out and hear the seven last words. Money's going to be raised, but we don't put any money into the community. And I have a problem with anybody that's doing something in the name of Jesus and they don't give back to the community. Because
mm,
everything Jesus did, he did for the community.
yeah.
And he didn't do for his own personal gain.
Yeah. So I love that you said that, because I have those same problems, and I've said that before. So I've been on the podcast, and not even only people doing it in, well, no, I take that back, because some of the politicians say that too. They preach God as well. They say they do things for their church. They announce that they're running for their churches. They want to go to other churches and speak on behalf of the city and everything else. However, you don't see any of those actions. I I don't understand why aren't they getting with the churches even more, as opposed to pointing the fingers to the church like you all are supposed to do all of the work.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Again, if the politicians are not concerned about the best interests of the community, because the place where I was watching, let me say this, I was watching Martin Luther King back in January when they were celebrating his birthday. Every time I saw Martin Luther King, he was backed by faith base.
Mm,
He was either speaking in a church, he had the Nation of Islam with him, he had white ministers, he had all different nationalities around him speaking with him. It just wasn't him and 5 or 10 blacks from his church or 5 or 10 blacks from whatever he was doing. I went to college in Birmingham, Alabama. There was a guy named Abraham Woods. He was the president of the SCLC. He said, "Young man, let me tell you something about Martin Luther King. We were older than Martin Luther King, but we picked him to speak for us because he was the most elegant speaker. But he would sit and listen to us about the problems that we needed him to talk about to help solve." And
mm,
one of the things that we won't do now as older pastors and senior pastors is we won't allow our young people to speak on our behalf to the
mm.
youth and you young people that are out there listening. Because if we would sit and talk and have conversations where we talked, where the older pastors mentor to the young pastors, to the young brothers and sisters in our community, to our activists, to our young people that are activists, to our young people that really want to see change in our community. If we would sit and have conversations and dialogue, then we could tell you what needs to happen. And then we could sit back and watch you run and be there to support you and give you our support to become the legislators, to become the councilmen, to become the mayors in the city that we need now. But if we just continue to keep using people that are getting older and older and older, then it never changes.
Yeah.
Just look at all the councilmen and all of the mayors and all of the people and how they've kind of died off, and we still grabbing the older groups over and over again, and we're not really reaching out to the young people that need to be the ones leading our city and that know something about city government. We got too many people we're putting in office that don't even know city government. We got too many pastors that don't know the word of God. So, hey.
Woo, man. Now that was a mouthful right there. You are absolutely right. So I think that we even as parents are dropping the ball there because we're not making sure that our children learn it, because we know they're not learning it in school, because that is by design that they're taking it out of the schools and so they don't learn it. So, excuse me. So it's up to us to be able to do that. So I feel like we're continuing to drop the ball and we're doing a disservice to even the younger people, even under us, because we're not passing along these things that we're angry about as well, right? So they can't write in cursive because they're not teaching that anymore. We can't buy them a watch with a dial on it because they're not teaching that anymore. It's all the everybody gets a trophy, everybody's included, everybody wins when they're not, and it's just a facade. And so we're all dropping the ball because we're letting that happen and we're not doing our part. So I know that. So when I'm on here, I always, I yell about that a lot and I boast about that a lot. And so one of my issues with city council and all of the leaders, is that we are so concerned about everything: blight, ice cream socials, little parties going on, but we haven't had clean water in 8 years. What? Why are we not talking about that? Why is that a problem? I don't even understand why we're yelling about so much money and we're just like, we still don't have clean water. I don't understand this. I am so confused about it. And us as constituents of the city of Flint and these 80,000 people that are in the city of Flint, they'll complain about it on the back end, or they'll say something like, I got to go to the church to get some water. But you're not going to City Hall to get some water. That's who you need to be yelling at, right?
Right.
I just don't understand it. And I don't understand how we continue to put these council people in place that's not concerned with it. But yet you say you for the people. That's a huge thing. We should not be screaming about dirty water 8 years straight.
I agree. I agree. And because the political cycle turns over so that those that run for office don't talk about the issues.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the victories that they call themselves that they have.
Yeah.
Because if you talk about the issues and you continue to talk about the issues, you don't feel like you're going to win. But I would rather lose and take care of the issues in my people in the city of Flint, or my people in whatever city that I was in, than to win and nothing happen and our people continue to die. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to be held accountable for that on Judgment Day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I agree with you totally. Everywhere you look in the city of Flint, we're arguing. We're not trying to accomplish anything. We can't get a city council that comes together to work together to accomplish, with the mayor and the council, to accomplish anything. We can't get the Board of Education to come together to accomplish anything. We still got school buildings that are up, that are just dilapidated, torn down buildings. We as a church tried to get buildings from them, and they turned us down over and over again for no reason at all. And all we were trying to do was open up a building for young people to have a place to go to get some education, to stay out of trouble. And they just turned us down over and over again. But then they come to our church and asked us to support them.
Yeah.
And we need to do something, like you said, for our children, because our children are losing right now.
They are.
They're a lost generation, and they're going to really be lost in years to come. They won't know anything.
So I think that is one. I always say this, and I thank God that my grandmother was a founding member of Foss Avenue. I thank God that I came up under Senior Pastor and you and Mrs. A. I'm telling you what I love so much about Mrs. A, because education was the thing that she didn't play about that, like, at all. At all. And I still remember that. So I remember that my father, even though he passed when I was 7, I remember him telling me, you always have to try, because even failure is progress.
Right.
He told me that. And I'll never forget that. And so I always say that. But I think now that you said that, like I'm kind of going back a little bit, saying that the older generation needs to talk to the younger generation. But I think now, because us younger,
I think she froze up for a second, Pastor.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you speaking facts. I can't understand, like you just said, that there. You blew my mind when you, like you said, they taking over money and over really morals.
Yeah.
Like helping the people. How can you like city council? How can it be that much dysfunction on the city council, even from the mayor administration? How can it be that much dysfunction when y'all want to help the people? I just hope whoever the new mayor is, they want to come in and help the people.
Because when we've got all this money that came in from COVID and we're not spending it in areas that can help, in educational areas, in water areas, in food areas, in blight You understand? If we took the money and just cleaned up the blight, because the city of Flint, other than downtown, is nothing but blight. It's just one big garbage dump.
No, you spoke truth right there. Like you said, they could cut some of it down because it's like you're paying a light bill for houses that you're not even using.
Right. You got 2 houses on a block.
Right.
With a couple of senior citizens staying in them. You can buy, with all that money, you can buy them a house, move them in a neighborhood where other people are staying, in stores where other people are staying, in schools where other people are staying, so they're just not out there by themselves. But we're not making any positive moves to develop Flint, and change Flint to where it needs to be in 2022. We're no different than we were in 1990. We just got a lot more raggedy homes.
So, with that being said, we know these council people, right?
Yeah.
We know these council people, and some of these council people have even been members of our own churches, right?
Right.
We know them personally, and their people have been here for however long they've been here, and they know the plight of the city. However, again, it's all personal. It seems to be all personal gain. Not gonna say allegedly, it seems to be, but it all seems to be personal gain because nobody is really dealing with the issues for real, and nobody stops to argue. Because here's my thing: it's all the city of Flint. Doesn't matter if it's the east side, the west side, the south side, or the north side. It's all Flint. It's all under the same thing. So whether you're in the third ward,
it's all Flint and it's all raggedy.
It's all raggedy. And whether you're in the third ward or you're in the 8th ward, we should all be as a unit wanting the same thing.
That's right.
The same thing as a unit. So I have such a hard time because I struggle with this all the time. Like, where's the solidarity? Where is the unity? Let's even take like the union, for instance. The union was so strong, and they were always about solidarity, right?
Right.
That's another thing that has fallen off. The union now is not even like it was. It's not as solid and as strong as it was. So I really don't understand how all of this personal gain for, like you said, this raggedy city is just a thing. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And it really breaks my heart. I swear to God, it really breaks my heart to see that we cannot come together and say, listen, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what I've been saying for forever. Everybody that's affected by this water, everybody in the city of Flint that's paying a city water bill, stop paying your water bill. If you can't use it, why are you paying for it? Just like if you were renting a house and something was torn up, you wouldn't want to pay your rent. So if you got a lawyer, your lawyer will tell you, put it in escrow. Don't pay it, put it in escrow. So if they try to take you to court for it, you say, here your money right here. Fix my roof, I give you money. We, as a unit of Flint, should have said, we're not paying this water bill for something I can't use. I don't care if you turn it off. Can't use it anyway. We all stop paying the water bill. Put it in escrow. When you fix it, you can have it. Right?
That makes sense.
I've been saying that for I don't know how long. I'm not scared to not pay a water bill for something I can't use. But we can't all come together. And I feel like even the council people should have been saying that, because, hey, the rules are you supposed to live in the city of Flint to do it. I can't be a council person because I live in Mount Morris Township. However, if you live in the city of Flint, it affects you too. So why wouldn't you say that? Why do you want to keep paying the water bill as a council person for something that you can't use? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't even understand how everybody couldn't even come up to one accord on that. And 8 years later, we're still in the same boat.
Well, they got us too now because they handed us a little bit of money. Because that
Yeah.
600 million or whatever that was, that's just some chump change.
Yes.
And that doesn't solve the problem, and that doesn't heal our seniors, that doesn't heal our children, that doesn't do anything that really needs to be done. So people are going to get a little bit of money and they're going to stop talking about it, and we're still going to end up with the same problem, because it's not just the pipelines, it's the infrastructure. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I go back to what I said about we need to downsize Flint, because we've got pipes and we've got all these underground pipes that have been running down in Flint for who knows how long. If we did a study or we talked about it, we would find out that the infrastructure up under the ground is so old that runs
Yeah.
the water into our houses that it's not just that little line that they're fixing that's going up into your house.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We got bigger problems than that. Flint,
Absolutely.
Flint is just an old, dilapidated city that was destroyed by General Motors, and then they walked out and went on about their business and left us as a dump, decayed place.
Yeah. And then they're going into these, and then now they're going into these other cities and these bigger cities, and these nicer gentrified cities, right? And they're
Yes,
making sure they're doing the right things by them now. They have solar panels that they're getting credits for because they're providing energy for the city, right?
right.
They're doing all of these things, but yet we as constituents, we as council people are saying, hey, hey, well, since
They're
you're doing
making,
all of that and you want to go up the road, then you need to come back and fix what you started here, or
that's
come
right.
back and put that here, because they're rebuilding in cities that they had been prior before, right? They're going back to some of those cities, but we are not seeing. That's the problem. We're not demanding it. We are not demanding that we get these things. And so I say this all the time. We are settling for these crumbs when it's a whole loaf of damn bread on the table, but we won't reach up and grab it. We just gonna let them throw us the crumbs on the floor. We can't get a seat at the table, and you just okay with not having a seat at the table. Pastor, now you know my attitude good enough to know I will push you down and sit at this table. And that's the energy that we all need to be having. But we're not, because, like you said, all of the personal gain, it's all of these hidden agendas and everything like that. And I just feel like take that somewhere else. We have been hurting long enough as a city. We have been hurting long enough. And if you don't have these right things, you don't have the right mindset for it, don't do it. But we as constituents, we got to stop voting these suckers in. We know they're not right. We grew up with some of these people, right? And we already know they're not doing right. Come on.
Well, what we really need to do, though, is we really need to take a closer look at who's running for offices.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have forums where they come in and where we come out to listen to what they offer and to listen to their education. Because again, I think we have too many politicians or too many people that run for office that don't know city politics, they
Yeah.
don't know government. And when you don't know, it takes you too long to learn in the time that you have a term in. And if you don't have a mentor to help teach you, it's so much you have to learn. It's so much that you have to learn and know. And so they spend time arguing about things that they really don't know about.
Yeah.
So we really have to take a look at how we even put politicians in place. There ought to be some guidelines. You need to have some governmental classes that you've taken. There needs to be some things that you have done that you legally and really know about politics and about
Yeah.
city politics and about city government.
It should be. It definitely should be. And I don't know. I just think that I just think that we, as the constituents of Flint, are just not requiring the right things. We're not demanding that these people that are in leadership, that we put in leadership, are. We're not demanding that they do the right things by us. We're just allowing them to do whatever. And people do what you allow. And if you allow somebody to keep doing it, they're gonna keep doing it, right? They're gonna keep getting away with it.
Because we're
So
doing it over and over again.
absolutely. And I don't think that I think that we need to give them we need to give them action items. We need to give them those things. I'm saying in our wards, we need to give them action items. Like, we demand that we have this, and this. You need to, this what you need to go to the table with, because everybody does need something a little different in their ward. I get it. However, we should all be wanting the same thing. So if you are vying for the 8th ward, I'm vying for the 3rd ward, but you're putting these things on the table for your ward in the 8th. I should not have a problem with you putting those things on the table for your ward. I should be wholeheartedly agreeing that you have those things, as well as you agreeing that I have the things that I need in my ward. Right? That's the energy that we should have, and we don't. But yet we get in these little cliques, right? And there's 4 of us over here. There's 2 of us over there. Or you got 5 over here and 3 over there, and then you got that 1 over here that's by themselves, and they say, well, I'm just going to vote wherever because I know I'm the deciding vote, right?
Right.
It's just, I don't get it. I don't understand it, and it's so annoying. I used to say this all the time, that I used to think that people should always have been part of a team, a sport, when they were growing up, to teach you teamwork, right? And because then I remember, so when my kids started playing sports, I said, hey, you are part of a team now. I need you to make a decision. If you are going to try out for this team and you make this team, you have a commitment to your team.
Right.
My son played football. It's 11 of you, plus the people that are on the bench. But you have a commitment to your team. You cannot go to practice. You practice how you play. You play how you practice. So if you practice like crap, you're going to play like crap. So you have to work as hard in practice as you do when you play an actual game. Now, if you start this, I don't care if you don't like it, but you have to finish it. And you have to finish it with your heart, and you have to finish it with everything in you, because your team is dependent on you. And that is the energy I feel like these council people should have. Whether you like it, all the criticism you take or whatever, it's still your team. And you need to finish it as strong as you went in with it. Now, if you don't like it after you're done with it, then that's it. I get it. Don't do it again. But you have to have that energy, because why you want to just leave us out here like that? People say a lot of things about Eric Mays, like, they don't like the way he delivers. They don't like how he speaks about things. I don't even live in his ward, but if I call his phone right now, he'll answer for me. Right? I can call him anytime. I can ask him a question.
Same for me.
Yeah, I can ask him a question. He'll answer me, or he'll tell me, I don't know, but I'll get you an answer. I'll call you back. And he will.
Satara, but let me say this. I feel that the church has dropped the ball in pastors being the leaders of the church.
Yeah.
Because if pastors were the leaders and respected as leaders of the church,
oh no,
the council would not act like they act at city council meetings. Example, if I was Eric Mays' pastor,
Right.
and Eric Mays was a member of Second Chance Church, and he respected me, I could say to Eric, at city council meeting, man, you need to tone it down because we need to get some work done. And for all of the city council, the same thing needs to happen. But there has become a lack of respect with the pastors in the church, because they just act like, wow, They act like our children act. Some of our children act when they're in the streets. And for
You,
those of us that love our children and care about our children, when we know they cutting up and acting up in school, we're gonna put them in check. Well, we as pastors have to put our council people in check. Hey, you're not getting nothing done down there. You know,
you're
you're
right
supposed to
about
remember
that.
this church. We need you to get some work done. This is not for you to spend 5 hours arguing about nothing and then walk out of a meeting and you don't get no issues voted on. And you
Right.
know, I don't have anything against this medical marijuana, but Flint does not just need to become a medical marijuana city where
Mm-hmm.
everything now becomes about medical marijuana and that's where all the money's going to come from. That's not going to work. That is going to run out at some point in time. We need to create jobs. We need to create education. We need to create um, a whole new look for the city of Flint. We need brand new school buildings for our children in the city of Flint. Brand new buildings.
We do. Pastor, I have a question for you. So when they had when they were talking about all that money and they got all of the pastors, well, not all of the pastors, they got a handful of pastors or select pastors together to talk about that money. Why didn't they bring why do you think they didn't bring all the pastors to the table? Do you think it was just a thing because those are friends of some of those ones that are in there? Because I feel like all of the pastors, big church, small church, little church, two people to a church. However, I think everybody should have been a part of that meeting.
Well, I don't know why everybody doesn't get invited to the meetings. My last name is Aldrich. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. But I don't want to attend every meeting just to be in a meeting to agree with somebody that I don't believe in leading me.
Yeah.
If if you have a good plan of action, I'm on board. Okay. And
Okay.
if you're not sucking up behind somebody uh, that I don't think it has the best interest of the city at hand, I'm on board. But we have to, as pastors, be leaders. We're supposed to be the gate watchers. We're supposed to be the gatekeepers. And if we're going to be the gatekeepers, we're not going to be people that everybody's going to love and get along with. We're going to have to say things that people don't like in the best interest of our communities. That's what the prophets were. That's what the gatekeepers were. And if we're not willing to do that and make some people mad and do what's best for the city, then we're not doing our job. We're like the scribes and the Pharisees. Jesus would call us hypocrites.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
all we're
what would be
doing is
your
getting up, all
top
we're
three
doing up is
action
preaching.
items to take the city back?
Yeah, that's what
What
we
would be
need.
your top three?
Action items,
Mm-hmm.
water.
Yeah,
Water number one. Still
definitely water.
water. Okay? And until we get the water straight, we still got problems. And then the outlying areas around downtown Flint. We have invested nothing but money in downtown Flint, and people need homes. People need to not be living in isolated areas. We need people to be able to live in communities where there are schools, where there are churches, where there are grocery stores all together.
No, I agree with you with that. That's what I was, because she just went off. I don't know if she's having a problem. I agree with you with that. The water, why in the homes and building homes and school. Why do they act like the council can't even get together, even to force you know what I'm saying, to get new schools education? Do they understand when you see the children? That's the future. So if you got a bunch of if you're not educating the kids, how you gonna expect the future with uneducated people?
That's yes. I'm not sure. What you expect? Because Flint will not survive another 20 years like it is right now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
We're like a third world country. Flint actually looks like a third world country.
Yeah.
When I bring my friends and pastors in from out of town to come to Flint and drive them through the city of Flint, they can't believe how Flint looks.
Mm-hmm.
How devastating Flint is. And you know, Black Lives Matter, but all lives matter. All the shootings, all the killing, and we're not providing anything for our young people to do right now.
Absolutely not.
And we got all kind of money that we're sitting on. We got all kind of COVID money that we're sitting on. I was looking at the news at Bay City. Bay City spending money fixing streets and fixing blocks and doing things for blight and stuff in Bay City right now with their money. They started spending it right away. We're
Yeah.
arguing about it.
And what's
We
sad about that is that there is no places for the children to go, and they complain about it, and they complain about all the violence, and they complain about these young children.
Think she froze up.
I got
Yeah, no, you right, Pastor. What you've been talking about, I can't disagree with nothing you said tonight. 'Cause like we was talking about education. What do they expect kids to do when there's nothing to do? What happened to the
right.
summer jobs, summer program? Like you said, they got all this hopper money, the money that's coming in. They don't want to set nothing up for the kids. Like when I was coming up, we had summer jobs.
When I was growing up, we had community school directors, we had summer programs, we had all kind of things that we could do. We had people at the schools that loved us, that cared about us. We had people that came in from we had teachers that came in from the South and teachers that lived in the areas, and they cared about the children. Now we don't have as many of the programs that we need to have for our children and things to do for our children. The parks are not safe. There's just too much empty space and too much empty time for a lot of our children right now. And we've got to do something about it.
And this city council, I know some of you are watching. I already know you are, whether you're watching privately, secretly, or whatever. Stop not allowing people like Pastor Derek Aldridge to get churches to do things for children. There's a lot of people trying to get some of these buildings to do things for children that we are not allowing them to do. And I don't understand that. We can't continue to complain about these children doing things, wreaking havoc in the city when we're not giving them somewhere to go or something to do. Now, if these people are trying to do these things, stop blocking it or advocate for them to have it, right? Because we should be having people advocate for it. We should all be appalled that there are 2 school buildings that Second Chance was not able to get. We should all be appalled at that. Everybody should. And I don't understand why we're not. We got to do better. We absolutely have to do better. We have been on for about an hour now. I have one last question for you. And my last question is, what would young DA, like 12-year-old DA, or what would DA now in 2022 tell 12-year-old DA? What advice would you give him?
You want to know the truth?
Yes.
I would tell a young DA, no, I'm getting you out of the city of Flint.
I hear it. I totally understand. Because that's where we're all at right now, right? We feel like it's not going anywhere. And like you said, it won't survive another 20 years. And at this point, I can't see it going anywhere else. And that is so sad. Hey, Pastor Derek, we got some people in the comments and they're saying you need to run for mayor.
God bless you guys.
They said you need to run for mayor.
I don't want to run for mayor. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take this conversation further with people that are coming on here. I don't want this to just be the end of it. I think that those people that are coming on your show, Satara, you and Mickey, I think what you guys are doing is very positive. I think it's needed to be done, but I think we need to take it a step further because
Okay.
we need to put some things in place. And while I'm an older pastor, I'm willing. See, I don't have nothing to lose because I'm not running for nothing and I'm not looking for nothing at this point in time. All I
Yeah,
want to do is make it better for my family and make it
absolutely.
better for your family and the other families in the city of Flint. And I'm
Absolutely.
willing to do whatever I can do to help. So whenever you're ready to pull something together where we get together and I can get a few more senior pastors to sit down and listen and we can bring the churches back together, then hey, let's do it.
Pastor, I am ready whenever you are ready and you can get them together. You say word and I'm there. Me and Mickey there, we there with the cameras. We'll get on the show and we'll do it.
We're
You
gonna do
tell me when
something.
you get everybody together, I'm ready whenever.
We've got some pastors that want to do some things that's not bought out.
Okay.
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 That
I'm
wants
with it.
to make some changes in the city of Flint. I thank God for both you and Mickey tonight. I thank you for inviting me, and I thank you for all of the people that I see coming on the live stream. God bless you. My dad and my mother both cared about the city of Flint, and
Yes.
I care about the city of Flint as much as they do. And right now, we got too many churches, too many liquor stores, not enough educational places for our children, and we've got to do something about it. And
Absolutely.
too much blight.
Well, I am ready whenever you are. You have my number. You let me know when you get everybody together and we will definitely do it. I'm ready.
We're going to do it. I'm going to get
Okay.
back with you. I love you.
Okay. I
All
love
right,
you
thank
too.
you,
Thank you
Pastor.
so much, Pastor. Have a
God
great
bless you.
night.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you again.
All right,
Blessing.
everybody. That is the show. Thank you so much for coming on and being with us tonight. I appreciate you all. You all stay safe. Keep holding these people accountable. You'll see us again. We'll be back. And with that being said, me and Mickey, we are out. You all have a great night. Good night.
Peace.